Welcome back to another episode of the Behavioral Economics in Marketing podcast series. This is Sandra Thomas-Comenole. In this episode, we discuss motivating your team through acquisition theory. So what is acquisition theory? Acquisition theory, also known as three needs theory, is a motivational model that affirms that we all have three motivating drivers: achievement, power, and affiliation. These motivational drivers affect the actions of people regardless of age, sex, race, or culture. The type of motivation by which we are driven derives from our life experiences, perceptions, and cultural norms. Understanding your own motivational driver, as well as those of your team, helps you to become a better leader. Acquisition theory was first identified and described by psychologist David McClelland in his book, The Achieving Society. For example, teammates who have different needs are going to require different forms of motivation. If your employee's motivational driver is affiliation, for example, then they will be most effective and happy in an environment where they can work with others in a team. Alternatively, if this individual were placed into a position that required a lot of individualized work and little interaction, then they would be demotivated and their output would suffer. Why is motivation important? Motivation is one of the cornerstones of behavioral economics. Behavioral economics is the analysis of the decision-making behind an economic outcome. Motivation and motivating drivers are an important part of the decision-making process. Understanding motivation and motivating drivers can help leaders to understand why people make the decisions that they make and how to influence the decision-making process to elicit the best possible outcomes for the employee, the team, and the organization. While there are many motivational theories, this episode focuses solely on acquisition theory as it relates to leadership. Psychologist David McClelland developed acquisition theory to attempt to explain how the needs of achievement, power, and affiliation affect the actions of people from a managerial context. Everyone is motivated by at least one of these motivational drivers. Whichever motivational driver a person is motivated by influences the decisions they make, how hard they work, how happy they are at work, and their overall sense of well-being. As a manager and a leader, it is important to understand the motivational drivers of your team and how to motivate each team member accordingly. Achievement-driven employees. Employees who are strongly motivated by achievement are driven by the desire for mastery. They prefer working on tasks of moderate difficulty in which outcomes are the result of their effort rather than luck. They value receiving feedback on their work. Their personality type is motivated by accomplishment in the workplace and an employment hierarchy with promotional positions. Power-driven employees. Employees who are strongly motivated by power are driven by the desire to influence, teach, or encourage others. People in this category enjoy work and place a high value on discipline. On the flip side, power-driven employees often take a zero-sum approach to group work. This means that in order for one person to win or succeed, another must lose or fail. If channeled appropriately, power-driven people can positively support group goals and help others in the group feel competent. Affiliation-driven employees. Employees who are strongly motivated by affiliation are driven by the desire to create and maintain social relationships. They enjoy belonging to a group and want to feel loved, appreciated, and accepted. People who have a need for affiliation work well in areas based on social interactions, like customer service or client interaction positions. McClelland asserts that they may not make effective managers because they may worry too much about how others feel about them. However, I disagree on this point. I once had a boss who was highly affiliation driven. He took on a servant leadership style of leading. You could tell he really cared about his employees and not just whether they liked him or not. Further, this motivational driver led to a more open environment with a lot of team-building activities in and out of the office. Tools of the trade. One of the keys to motivating your team through McClelland's acquisition theory is knowing your team members' motivational drivers. There are many tools to assess your team's motivational drivers. McClelland had developed the Thematic Apperception Test, or TAT, to test motivational drivers. The TAT, aka the Picture interpretation technique, uses a series of ambiguous pictures about which the test taker is asked to tell a story, including the following elements: what has led up to the event shown, what is happening at the moment, what the characters are feeling and thinking, and what the outcome of the story was. Today, there are many tests that assess motivational drivers. One of the most common is the predictive index. For over 65 years, the predictive index behavioral assessment has used behavioral data as its backbone for talent optimization, from hiring and employee engagement to growing leadership potential and creating high-performing teams. The Predictive Index Behavioral Assessment identifies and categorizes workplace behavioral drives to provide deep insights into the behaviors and motivations of your colleagues and employees. As a leader in your organization, assessing and understanding your team's motivational drivers helps you to create a working environment that not only optimizes your employees' productivity, but promotes their wellness and well-being. If you aren't sure where to get started with the Predictive Index and executive leadership, check out Weaver Business Coaching at www.weaverbusinesscoaching.com. Wrapping it up, understanding how we as humans make decisions is an important part of marketing and leadership. Behavioral economics is the study of decision making and can give keen insight into employee behavior and help to shape your leadership skills. Acquisition theory is a motivational model that affirms that we all have three motivational drivers: achievement, power, and affiliation. These motivational drivers affect the actions of people regardless of age, sex, race, or culture. The type of motivation by which we are driven derives from our life experiences, perceptions, and cultural norms. As a leader in your organization, assessing and understanding your team's motivational drivers helps you to create a working environment that not only optimizes your employees' productivity but promotes their overall wellness and well-being. Thank you for listening to another episode of Behavioral Economics and Marketing. This is Sandra Thomas-Comenole.